So we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to today's webinar hosted by caring.com. Today's presentation is a really exciting one. We're going to be covering the changes that Caring has made to the brand and the site, which has been over a year in the making. As we begin, I would like to cover a few housekeeping items for today's webinar. First, this is a one-way webcast, meaning only the presenters will have video and audio throughout today's presentation. We would still, however, love to hear from you. At any point throughout the webinar, please submit your questions using the Q&A section or the chat feature within Zoom. We're going to be answering these questions following the presentation. One question we always receive is, will this be recorded? Yes. We're recording today's presentation and we plan to distribute both the recording and the slides over the next couple of days. And you'll be able to find our webinar archive on partners.caring.com. This free webinar is brought to you by caring.com. For those joining who may be less familiar, Caring has a portfolio of websites and is a referral service that millions of people use to research senior living and senior care. Our mission is to help as many seniors and their caregivers as possible through empathetic expert guidance. And thousands of senior living communities and home care agencies partner with Caring to reach their target audience who's actively seeking care. One of the many reasons care seekers turn to Caring is for our high integrity reviews program, where we have over 375,000 consumer reviews. So my name is Megan Mulrain. I am the B2B Marketing Associate here at Caring, and I'm going to serve as today's moderator for the presentation. But more importantly, I'm excited to introduce you to our expert presenters for today. We are joined by two of Caring's best. Jess Hall is our Director of Brand and Creative. She joined us in October of 2022 and leads our brand and creative team. She has steered the efforts for our rebrand efforts over the last year, which you'll learn about today. Lindsey Bowers is one of our national account managers. We're delighted to introduce Lindsey, who has been an integral part of the Caring team since December of 2019. As an account manager, Lindsey has played a pivotal role in supporting our partner, sales, and success team. Our presenters today are bringing a wealth of expertise and knowledge around the new brand and what it means for our partners. So, without further ado, I am going to head and pass control over to them.
All right, sorry about that. Always a fun technical difficulty moment over here. As Megan mentioned, I'm Jess Hall, and I'm really excited to chat with you today alongside Lindsey. We're going to cover a couple of things here, as Megan mentioned, our new brand, some of the updates you might be seeing to caring.com, along with some focus areas we want to share with you for opportunities to optimize your own profiles on our site. So then we'll dive into some Q&A, and we're excited. You may have noticed a few things changed on our site over the last few months, and those of you who have been with us for a while know that through the tech replatforming and several other efforts, we have been making a lot of improvements over the last 19 or so months, and so many of those are coming to fruition, specifically in the last 6. And so it's been a really delightful process to watch all of that come to life for the public to enjoy, both our partners and care seekers. So I'm going to share a little bit about our brand and how we came to this point in our process, and we'll dive in. So you may have known that Caring launched its new brand on December 5th of 2023. So we're about 6 weeks in and have loved seeing so much incredible feedback on it. So thank you for those of you who have reached out. Something that I really want to emphasize here is that our mission remains the same. We are here to help as many seniors and their caregivers as possible through that empathetic and expert guidance in any way that we can. That will never change. And that is something that means a lot to us. And we had conversations about the potential of changing or updating the language here, and we opted not to because it is something that we believe in so significantly, and we know you do as well in this industry. So I want to talk a little bit about the process of how we got to where we are today. And that began actually technically the tail end of 2022, but at the beginning of last year, we invested in a new brand strategy based on a two-part research study that included qualitative Zoom interviews, including 14 care seekers from a variety of experiences, knowledge levels, along with different experiences for what they or their loved one needed and what that process was like for them. We also completed a quantitative survey with just over 950 seekers in the US who had been seeking care in the last 2 years, and they were one of the sole or joint decision makers involved. We also wanted to make sure that those folks aligned with our typical budget, and so that we had as accurate of data as possible as far as how they might match with caring and our partners. With that, I'm going to share a couple of findings that we have from that survey. I'm going to go ahead and say, though, if you're interested in learning more about some of the data we gathered there, I'd be happy to chat with you about it or set up additional time. So just let us know, and we'll have a couple of details about how to contact us towards the end of the presentation. With that, one of the main findings we had was around the emotions during the search. We tried to be as comprehensive as possible about the care-seeking process, who they are, what they were looking for, what they felt, and how the process went for them. When talking about emotions, that is something that you all are very familiar with as you chat with folks who are looking for care or living for their loved one or for themselves. And so a lot of these probably resonate with you from conversations you've had. But those top emotions, for reference, in this survey were that they were stressed, some thought it was for the best, and some were overwhelmed. And it varied a bit by age group. And so we were able to break that down a little bit for you. And if you have questions on that, feel free to let us know. But I have some details there that you can dive into once these materials are shared. Maybe unsurprisingly, maybe surprisingly, in this case, when continuing to talk about emotions, women were more likely to feel a range of negative emotions when the search process began, often on that the spectrum leaning more towards like overwhelmed, guilty, upset, or alone, while men were more likely to feel positive emotions, talking about feeling optimistic, useful, or prepared. Obviously, that is not always the case, but that was a bit of the trend. And in this case, along with anything that you're doing in your work, it helps us to know how we can tailor to the person we are speaking to, and how we can best support them in the process. So another thing that we asked was about the various communities and agencies that they looked at or searched through. So top criteria outside of the home specifically were cleanliness, affordability, reputation, and food or amenity quality. Obviously, that's a lot of information, but it's helpful to kind of dive in and learn a little bit about what those preferences are, how those concerns increase by age group, and based on other factors. So those are also some helpful stats you can dive into over time. One of the interesting things that we found was that only 3 in 10 respondents actually rated their experience of searching for senior care as excellent or very good. And that's always a tough thing to hear. When talking about the experience overall, it was specifically harder for those who were searching in an area that was further away from those needing care or from the community or area they were searching in, which, in my opinion, tracks with what might be happening there and how that would be more difficult. The good news, though, is that nearly 8 in 10 who used caring rated us specifically as extremely or very helpful in that process. We take great pride in that. We love the fact that we are able to support folks in their search. We love that we're able to pair them with partners like you along the way. And so those are just things to kind of keep in mind, especially for those of you who may be on the cusp of becoming a partner with us, thinking about how we could improve your visibility and other things with folks who are looking for care. So from there, what we were able to do is that we dove into some visual and verbal identity, which is meant to be a reflection of the strategy that we created based on these findings. And that is where our new logo came from. So you'll see a couple of different iterations of this based on spacing, based on surrounding colors, that sort of thing. And so if you see a few versions in various materials, that is why. And there are those of you who also have co-branded resources with us or like to highlight that we are partnered on your website. In that case, we also have a couple of guidelines to share with you, and there's also additional resources we can share along the way as well. But as a few notes, I have a couple of examples here, just to make sure that it's legible, easy to read, that sort of thing. We also have, for reference, some lovely new colors. Our designer, Katie, spent an incredibly long time. You would be shocked at how long it takes to land on colors that really work together, that are accessible for our audience. That's really important to us. And just really capture that feel of warmth and trust, gentleness, and inspiration in this process. We also have a couple of other details I'll share with you as far as what you might see in some of our materials in the coming months, as far as our typography. We also have a couple of photography standards that we created. It's going to be a really powerful tool for us. We're very excited about photography and video and where we're headed with that. And so we started to create some guidelines around that. The care seekers that we spoke with, just as a reference for why some of these exist, those that we spoke with really wanted to see their loved ones happy in their new environment, or other folks, obviously, happy in that environment, rather than the reminder of some of the difficult realities they might face. So here are a couple of other items that we try to avoid. Obviously, we won't shy away from it or avoid it when it's appropriate for the topic, but it is just meant to be a general guideline for us. That for the most part, I'll go back briefly, we're really looking to show folks who are very situated, settled, and just feeling really content with their choice. And if you have any questions on that, feel free to let me know. Again, a couple of other items that you'll see. We've got a couple of assets you may see even in this deck, some of these page corners and icons and different things that we worked through, some of these pathways and patterns, just some fun little tidbits to share, because there is a lot that goes into this process. From there, I also wanted to share a couple of things that we'll be implementing in our voice. So things that you read from us or that we publish for care seekers, you are welcome to take from us. I want to share the wealth or the knowledge here, and some of those best practices and how you could apply them to your own work if you don't already. A couple of things we really landed on here are this idea of plain spoken empathy, wanting to have a friendly voice, using that everyday informal language. I think it helps put people at ease, not talking about slang or inappropriate humor or anything like that, but just really looking to stay conversational and human in the way that we talk to care seekers. And also finding ways to project a sense of listening. That's hard to do on a website specifically, but obviously you all know how incredible our family advisors are. And so just really looking to use guiding questions and other ways to help a care seeker know that we are here, we are listening, and we want to help them. The other thing we're keeping in mind is how we can offer a simple next step. Rather than overwhelming them with a long to-do list, let's take it one step at a time. That straightforward process, knowing that it can be complicated, let's break it down a little bit and pointing towards the next useful action. Also, when possible, taking the time to explain the why behind something. I am sure you all have run into situations where someone is unsure why something is priced the way that it is, or some of those types of things. Being able to provide context along the way is really helpful, really beneficial for someone, and can really put folks at ease. If there's information you need to capture from them, much like our FAs do on a phone call, that just really helps. Being able to provide credentials, talking about the quality of what you're able to provide based on the information you're asking for, and then being able to show that how we are all in this together for a win-win, both for their family, for you as our partner, however you can. So those are just some things that we're looking to implement in our voice coming soon. The other thing I'll say here before we move forward into our next section about updates on the site is that we're really excited to say that this week we actually wrapped up a test in some of our SEM platforms. So some of the environments where we were doing some A/B split tests with the former brand and the new brand. And we've been able to see an increase of between 2 and 3% using the new branding on those landing pages. So really proud to have that data point in our hands, and excited to see how the continued evolution of our site improves visibility and results for your business. So really, really pleased to hear that and have that news to share with you today. If you have questions about accessing any of these assets or any of those co-branded materials, or in any case where you may need our logo, you can access them in a few ways. There is a portion of our newsroom site, so caring.com/about/caring_images. I know that one's long, but you'll get this deck. Those are available for download there. You can also request from your account manager directly if you have contact with them. Hopefully you do. And then you can always email me at jhall@caring.com or the partner success@caring.com, and we'll be sure to help you out. Lindsey, is there anything you want to add on that front as far as accessing assets?
Yes, if any questions or access, or maybe you want to get in touch with the correct person and to ensure you're speaking with the correct account manager, just please make sure to do the partner success@caring.com, and we can definitely field those answers and get back to you as soon as possible on how to do these assets and other things you may need assistance with.
Perfect. All right. Next up, we're going to dive a little bit into the updates you've been seeing on caring.com. I know there have been some questions, and we've been really excited to share these with you as well, not only to enhance the care seeker's experience, but enhancing your experience as our partner and how we are able to display you in an even brighter light and really bring your best foot forward on our site. So really excited to share these with you. I'm going to dive through two specific page types: our provider pages, so basically your profile on our site, some of the updates that you're seeing here, in addition to what's to come, and then another page type here in just a second. So on the screen, actually, I have one of our local Brookdale communities pulled up here just to show that this is this experience specifically that you're seeing here is unique to our partners and included in your agreement with Caring. When you are not a partner of Caring, the page looks slightly different. All of the same information is there, just in a bit of a different order. Want to show here, highlight a couple of things. This verified partner tag that you'll see by the phone number is for partners only. That is helping to instill additional trust and buy-in from the care seeker to know that you are someone that we partner with, we are proud to partner with, that they can, again, trust with their loved one or their own future. A couple of other things we have added here in that top section underneath the review score. So where it says 3.82, just below that, I recognize this screenshot is a little small, but you'll see a little paw print. There are several amenities that we have added, some of the most sought after or searched for, that we have been able to add to profiles that have them. So where pets are allowed, where Wi-Fi is within the individual unit, where transportation services are offered, and the mobility and wheelchair assistance is provided as well. Those icons are indicated there. If you go to your profile and for some reason you don't see those icons, it is worth making sure that your profile is up to date with all of your amenities and services. So that's just something to keep in mind, a really nice additional feature just to start to highlight all that you have to offer in a quick view. We're also really pleased about the larger photo display. If you remember the former profiles, those photos were much further down the page. There was just a single image at the top. So you're able to highlight even more exciting elements of your community in that case. I do want to mention briefly for home care providers, there are still opportunities for you to have photos, I promise. Some of the things that we have chatted with is how much care seekers love to see photos of your team, who they are. You could create images, obviously a team photo, but then if you have individual images of certain care providers, you want to highlight a little bit of information about them, you could do that in photo form. You could always have a photo of a care provider with a client, as long as you have their permission to use that photo. And again, you could always reference some of the photography guidelines I gave that we are abiding by above for additional ideas. We're also always happy to help with that, but don't want to leave our home care folks out on that front. So really excited about these larger photo displays. And I have more exciting thoughts on that here in just a second. A couple of other things that have changed here. There are several enhancements to the review section. You'll see that the parametrics there on the left are getting a bit more visibility. We're able to continue to highlight the Caring Stars program and those who have gained that award. We also have the years indicated for when a community or home care agency has earned that award. And there are even more enhancements on that I'll mention here in just a second. On the map front, the map is much nicer than it was previously. It's an integration with Google Maps. And so you're able to see additional features like satellite, zoom, so that folks can continue to learn what is nearby your community, in the case that your community, and helps them to see what might be available to their loved one if, again, you have those transportation services or if they live nearby as well. Some of the things that are coming soon to provider pages that we are thrilled about is in that photo grid that I showed you. We'll be adding video, street view, and floor plan. We will also be enhancing, as I mentioned, that review section where you're able to filter or sort through reviews. You can search reviews for some of those key terms. There will also be summaries of the various reviews that are available on a profile if there are more than one review available. We're looking to include a request for online feature along with a community comparison tool where they can take a look at verified partners nearby the community they are looking at the time. So very excited about some of those features coming in provider pages and look forward to see how they can benefit you and your business in the coming year. Some of the other things I want to cover are on what we call internally a geo page, but essentially that is a one of our highest volume pages that shows results in their desired location. So if someone has searched for, I'm going to use Charlotte because we are here, assisted living in Charlotte, North Carolina, this is one of the pages that would populate in their search. So I want to show a few things. Filter and Sort launched several weeks ago for us. Some of those filters include Caring Stars. So if you have earned a Caring Star in the last 3 years, if someone selects that filter, you would populate in this search. Reviews, another one. So if you have 3 or more stars, 4 or more stars, etc. Price is one, as you can see in the screenshot. Room type, language, there are more, but those are a couple to highlight here. We also have these additional filters that you can see under the intercity state zip towards the center, where again, they can filter by some of those most requested amenities like pets allowed, physical therapy, hot tubs, veterans benefits, that sort of thing. So we have a lot of exciting updates to share on that front. And something I'm really proud to share on that is that we have seen about a 10% increase of inquiries for folks who have engaged with the filter source. So a really exciting uptick for us in this, and hopefully, again, even more eyes on your communities and home care facilities. The other thing I want to highlight here is these redesigned provider cards. We've added those amenity icons I mentioned earlier, and there are additional updates coming on these soon. I think that's all I have on this one. The other thing I will show briefly as far as coming soon, additions to Filter and Sort will include a verified partners filter. So again, if you are a partner with us, they will be able to filter in that way. Other additions that we will be adding to the provider cards are those video and floor plan icons, and we will also be providing a photo carousel. So if someone is just looking at that card on the geo page, they haven't clicked into your profile yet, but they're looking at you among the list, they can actually look through multiple photos before they click in. We'll also be adding that comparison tool I mentioned on the geo page, so folks can select multiple. That one's a little bit different than the one on a provider page, so folks can select multiple providers and then check out that comparison. So it's a bit more of a self-service option. And then we're also looking to implement what we are currently calling the Who Are You Searching For guide, but it will be an opportunity, a bit of a questionnaire for folks to give us a bit more information about what they're thinking before they call us. And then we can actually give them the right resource for where they are in their search, is the way I'll put that. So on your end, it'll be helping improve lead quality and those parameters in order for us to send leads to you at the right time in their search. So rather than someone who might be at a casual stage in their search, they are ready to get started. And so we're really excited about that. let's see, I'm talking a lot. I'm excited to share the next section here with Lindsey as well, as we dive into a few ways that all of this information, we want to be able to empower you and what you can do in order to continue to see success in your partnership with us. That's really important to us. And so something I just want to preface here is that this month, one of our analysts has actually identified 6 key elements of a provider page. So that profile that you have on caring.com that helps to improve conversion for you. So I'm going to dive into these 6. Lindsey, pop in at any point. Feel free to interrupt me. Let's see. So here are the 6 items that we have found that are statistically, optimizations for success on caring. Want to dive through each of these. 1, talking about at least 7 reviews on your profile page, on your provider page. I say minimum because if you want to qualify for Caring Stars, which is an incredible program and award led by Denise Grob, you want to have at least 15 in that case. There are other criteria for that program, and if you have questions, you can always reach out to Denise at reviews@caring.com. She's also here today. But at least 7. 7 seems to be a initial sweet spot, and then knowing that even more is even better. Looking for 6 quality photos. So that was why I mentioned earlier, home care, we don't want to leave you out. There are ways to get 6 photos, we promise. And if you have questions or want to brainstorm that, happy to support you. Having at least 1 provider review response, even on a positive review. Thank you so much for taking the time to let us know how our community has benefited you. Something as simple as that. Fantastic. And of course, if someone has provided a review that has a bit of critique or constructive feedback, being able to respond to that is even more essential for your success. A care seeker will see that you took the time to respond to that review, and how you handled that really matters. One note I will say on that, we can always dive into this another time, is if there is a way to do it in a way that doesn't feel canned, if it's not the same response that you give every single time, if you can add a bit of a personal touch to it beyond their name, that really helps. So just something to think about there. If you can aim for about a 200-word description, that also feels like a bit of a sweet spot that we have found in that data. And now we even have ChatGPT to help us out. So if you want to provide something like a tool like that, information about your community or your agency, I'm sure it will give you something that you can share. But otherwise, any materials that you have on your site that you want to pull 200 words from to help share who you are, what you're about, and how you help seniors will be great. Anything you can do to keep your amenities up to date is fantastic, and we recommend having at least 8 amenities identified from your community. There's a whole list in your portal that you can choose from, and there's also opportunities to write in additional. Lindsey, is there anything you want to say about that? Obviously, you are much more familiar with that side of the process than me.
Oh, yes, definitely. So kind of look at what these key optimizations are, is what is going to make your community special, like, right? What sets yourself apart from your competitors in the area? Everybody has a uniqueness that they bring in our partnership. So this is a way to really highlight that and let them know what makes you you, right? So especially looking at these as, okay, what are the best quality photos that you can provide that really highlights, again, what makes you special? Do you have a beautiful garden? Do you have a really robust food program? As we all know, people are looking for beautiful things and they're looking for yummy food, right? So let's highlight those things. Do you have unique programs that you do that set yourself apart from your competitors? Also, looking at amenities as well. Think about, we can go through those things and highlight, what really sets yourself apart. And then of course with FAQs as well. So kind of look at FAQs are, what is unique about your community? And not only can our, the public-facing sites see this information, but also our family advisors are able to see this information. So that might be able to help them set you apart to say, hey, you know what? Remember when your mom said that she really wanted to go, to a unique gardening program or a unique class, and your community highlights that? They can use that information to build value within your community. So then when it's time for a tour, let's go visit there, because it's really set yourself apart and highlighted again what makes you guys unique and special with your craft. So and to Jess's point, to update this information, we will be going over this a little bit further in the Q&A, but we will have a way to direct you guys so that we can get you the correct help that you need to make sure that you are putting your best foot forward. Again, we're here to help. We're excited, and we look forward to helping you as best as we can.
Yeah. On that amenities front, I know I mentioned it earlier, but something to really keep in mind here is, as caring, as we continue to build out some of the features on our end, having those amenities up to date means you are showing up in some of those results. So I'll take Lindsey's example of a garden. If we end up with a garden filter or sort or any of those things, if we're really looking to highlight best communities with the garden, that would be something that you would want to make sure that you have listed in your profile. Also, something you could think about on the FAQs, a very simple, straightforward one that takes care of it, of at least one of those two, is what care services you provide. That would be a very easy one to provide some information about. So that gets you halfway there. One thing I do want to call out here is these top two, reviews and photos, have the greatest impact. So if you have limited resources, limited time, I know so many of us do, and we are all very busy. If a list of 6 things feels like way too much of a hill to climb and conquer, or however else you want to think about that, focus on these top 2. Think about getting 7 reviews and think about getting 6 photos. On the reviews front, again, I highly recommend you reach out to Denise. She has some wonderful resources as far as how you can request reviews from folks who are a part of your community or a client in your agency, and how you can truly capture those reviews in a meaningful way. She can also give you information about our robust reviews guidelines, just to make sure that anything that's submitted is correct and that we can accept. For example, we cannot accept a review that is from you or anyone on your staff. And so just making sure that if you are going to take time to seek out these reviews, that they are reviews that can be highlighted on our platform. So again, focusing on those top 2, photos and reviews, is really helpful and benefits you as our partner, and ultimately the people we are all hoping to help, with the seniors and their loved ones. All right, and again, remembering that we are here to help, as Lindsey mentioned. More resources and communication around these 6 specific things are coming soon. We want to be able to support you in these optimizations. We will be sending out additional emails, additional resources, so many things, in order to say, hey, here are some ways that you can achieve this. It is possible. We are here to help you. And that way too, again, as many seniors as possible with that empathetic expert guidance. That is what we are here for. So really quickly, summary on our front. Those top 3 takeaways: our brand is live. We are so excited about it. And we are reaching care seekers with success, which I do take great pride in. And we are very grateful for all of the support we've gotten in that process. If you were a partner who worked with us, who we were able to chat with us along the way in that process, thank you so much for your input and your support. As I also mentioned, we have more exciting updates that are coming this year on our profile pages, on our geo pages, and so much more. And then, as always, we are here to help you and optimize around those critical interests of care seekers. Now, I will pass it back to Megan, who's going to lead through that Q&A, and Lindsey and I are going to do our best to answer your questions. Obviously, if we don't know the answers, we will find them for you, but hopefully we can help you out today. Thank you so much for your time.
Well, that was really great presentation. As somebody who's watched this process evolve over the last few months, it's really exciting to see all of this come to life. I've seen a few questions come through in both our chat and our Q&A feature, so I'm going to go ahead and use some of the time that we have left to dive into that. But I do want to send a reminder for anybody who may have joined late or missed that first part. This is being recorded, and the recording and the presentation, the slide deck, will be emailed out within the next couple of days once the presentation concludes. So you will have access to all of the resources that Jess and Lindsey have shared with us today. So I have a couple of questions here, one of which is, are we able to upload a virtual tour onto our profile so it's more tangible for caring.com advisors?
So current state, more to come on that, as you can see with the more exciting updates that are coming this year. Yes, to answer your question, you will have that option later in the year. We're hoping, hopefully, maybe in the next quarter. And so we will not only be able to post videos, but as you said, just some of the other exciting flyers, PDFs, things like that to highlight your company events, or excuse me, your community events, virtual tours, really exciting things. So again, more to come on that. But yes, great question. We are very excited about that feature and more to come on that. We will be sending out some stuff later within probably the next few months of a more better timeline whenever that would be launching.
Perfect. And we then also got a question, where do we send the photos we want you to use for our listing?
Okay, so for that, the best way, because depending on kind of different partners and care levels and things like that, that can kind of vary. So the best way to start out would be to either, if you know who your direct account manager is here at Caring, you can contact them directly and then they could set up some time to help your team walk through that. Or you can also send an email to partnersuccess@caring.com. It's in the presentation, and we can also add this to the chat as well. But that way we can field the questions or concerns or anything that you need help with on your profile listing, and we can make sure we introduce you to your correct account manager, and then we can go from there. We typically ask to allow 1 to 2 business days for response. Pretty much we typically try to turn it around a little bit quicker than that, but definitely want to make sure we can get you set up with everything as soon as possible. So I would say definitely, if you know who your direct, again, account manager is, reach out to them directly. If not, please use partnersuccess@caring.com and we will get that process started for you.
Perfect. We are getting several questions about uploading photos and where they can upload the photo. So just to reiterate, they can reach out to Partner Success and get connected with their account manager to get assistance. But is there a way for them to self-serve uploading photos if they have them and they know what they're looking to add to their profile?
Yes, there is, and sometimes there's not. I'll explain it. So some partners, just depending on how your account is set up from the corporate level, depending on how your chain at your senior leadership level, some restrict that because they have certain guidelines they need for photos. Or if you do have access to your portal and you do have editing access from permission from your corporate level at your community or / chain, you would be able to upload that. So again, probably the easiest way, if you're not sure you have access to your portal or not, would the avenue of going to partnersuccess@caring.com. And again, we can help either send you your invite, help you upload the photos, and go through that uploading and things like that to make sure everything's up to date for you.
And the partnersuccess@caring.com email, that's the best platform for people to send in specific questions that they have about these kinds of services, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Perfect. Okay. I did get a question here, which was, how can I determine if the leads in my portal have been captured from my specific caring.com page? So is there a way for them to see where the leads in the portal have come from, or do they just get the leads?
I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So you want to see if the leads came from the updates that were made on your Caring portal? Like the actual lead source is what I'm assuming, Brian,
Yes,
that you're
yeah.
asking?
Lead
Okay,
source.
okay. I don't know specifically if there's a way at this time for partner facing to see what the actual lead source was, but to Jess's point earlier, we can actually research that with our marketing team and get back to you on that. And then for the question, do I own the lead or is it shared with other operators? It would be, you would own the lead depending on your agreement and certain terms that, obviously your corporate level has agreed upon. That would also need to probably be fielded by account, but typically most of our life of lead is going to be at least 2 years. So you would own that lead from 2 years to the date that you received the lead. And when you ask if it's shared with other operators, That would honestly just depend. That's on a consumer by consumer basis. Let's say, for example, we're talking with a consumer and they want 3 or 4 options in the area. We would, obviously give them those 3 or 4 options. So it really can vary just depending on the actual consumer and in that aspect.
Perfect. Okay. We have a couple more questions here. Where can somebody find out who their account manager is to help update an out-of-date profile if they're maybe new to the community or agency?
Yes, we can absolutely do that through partner success at caring.com. We have a full help desk team that helps as well as the account managers, and we filled that out. And again, we asked to allow about 1 to 2 business days for turnaround time. So if you go there, we can definitely get you in touch with the correct person to assist you.
Perfect. And then we had somebody ask for more information about the request to tour online function, Jess, that you mentioned is coming.
Yes, it is coming. There are a lot of details to decide on that front on our end as well. So we are excited about it. There's an initial wireframe for it. So there's an initial design, but we still need to decide on some of the functionality. As of now, the goal is that it would still operate in the same way that you receive tour information currently. So if an FA is on the phone today and someone decides to schedule a tour and you get information about that, the same would occur through this process. It just removes the initial step of making a phone call. So there are more details we're going to determine on that front, but for now, we are looking to keep it as similar to your current experience as our partner as possible, just so that you don't have multiple things to keep track of. I also saw a reviews question, how can we streamline reviews, especially with those residents who can't use a computer, are hard of hearing, etc. Double check with Denise to make sure I got this right, but she says just to please reach out to our reviews team for support with review services and partners. That's reviews@caring.com. They have both online and reviews by phone services. So depending on the unique need, they are able to help you out there.
Okay. And unless that looks like we have covered all of the questions that were asked today.
I think we got one more in the chat, Megan. So someone asked, can videos of teams also be posted or just photos? Videos, once that feature is unlocked, yes, you can add a video about your team, absolutely. Currently, we do not have the video function, but when we do, yes. Just keep in mind that photos are currently what is driving that success. There's a question that will that be this year or next?
I think the tour.
So video is, I'm sorry, both tour and video, all of these are scheduled for this year. As of right now, I do not anticipate either of those changing. So in that vein, once videos are available, you can upload a video about your team, absolutely. And as we learn more about how video is performing on site, we'll definitely be sure to share those best practices as well. As far as how you will know about these updates, with so much changing this year, our partner sales and success team, so Lindsey, Dee Dee, Diana, and so many others, Megan and myself, you will be hearing a good bit from us. So be sure, I will put in a plug for Megan's monthly newsletters that she sends out. Those have a lot of information. She keeps partners.caring.com up to date. We will also just be sure to send one-off emails as needed, especially for some of those larger feature rollouts. I wouldn't be surprised if Megan asks me back here at some point this year to help explain another feature as it rolls out, and just to make sure that everyone knows how it works. But lots of really, really cool things are coming for provider pages and other things across the site this year. And we want to make sure we set you up for success for that. So also, if you have ideas or ways that we can support you as these features roll out, please don't hesitate to let us know.
Exactly. You will be, keep an eye on your inbox. We will be sending emails as things are going live and communicating with you all as we seek your feedback and just kind of keeping you aware. So let me just confirm, believe that is officially all of the questions. If you happen to think of another question once you log off, again, you can reach out to us at partners.caring.com. And we just want to thank you so much for joining us today and listening to the presentation. Thanks to Lindsey and Jess as well. We welcome your feedback on this presentation, on topics you're looking to hear about. So when this webinar concludes, it will kind of push out a survey to you all. Please fill it out. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what you want to hear about. We want to hear about how we can be better. There are going to be more resources, including webinar archives on partners.caring.com. If you have any questions, feedback, looking to become a partner after hearing about all the really cool features that our pages are allowing partners to have, you can call us at the number on the screen or email partnersuccess@caring.com. But with that, we will let you all get back to your commendable work of helping seniors, and we hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for your time.